It's me, Robin, with Simple Food, Simple Life. I want to show you what I'm doing this morning. It is Monday morning, actually. And every morning for quite a long time now, every Monday morning for quite a long time now, I go through my refrigerator and I see what is in the refrigerator that needs to be eaten, that needs to be used. And it might include leftovers. It might include just odds and ends of what's left in a package, for example. Or something I have opened and I've not finished it. The reason I do this is because I don't like to waste food. And because if you're going to buy the food and waste the food, then you should just skip that step and just go out to your trash and just put your money in the trash. None of us would do that, but yet we do it every day because we waste the food that we buy. So I think it's important to take an inventory, so to speak, of what is available for me to eat. What do I need to be diligent about consuming? And sometimes I even write down what is left. And I put that on the refrigerator and I take a look at that. And if I consume that, I will check that off. Also, some things, if I feel that I'm not going to eat it throughout the week, then I will take a small freezer bag and I might freeze the portion or divide it up or eat half and freeze half for another day. So let me show you, this is what was in my refrigerator, and it's not including any condiments, although there are condiments in the refrigerator that can be used towards the food. So let me show you what I have. I have some boiled eggs here, and I've actually got half of this egg with no yolk because my little kitty cat likes it and I love her, and I gave her the yolk out of that egg. So I've got 3 boiled eggs here, plus the half. And in this, I have 3 boiled eggs in here. So I will be definitely eating those this week. So that's what we have there. I've got a partial package of corn tortillas. And some of these are very crumbly, but they do need to be used. So I will make an effort towards that. I've got 2 slices of cheese here, and I have a partial block of mozzarella cheese. I also have 2 English muffins. These actually came from Dollar Tree, and I have to tell you, they're very good. So I have 2 English muffins left in the old bread category. And I've got a partial loaf of wheat bread from Quick Star. Their price, if you have a convenience store like that, check out some of their prices, because you might find that in some cases they're lower than at other places. But anyway, I have this left. I've got a partial container, very small, there's a few bites left in there, of some potato salad, which actually came from Quick Star. This was purchased when I had company. We didn't open this particular container, and so once I did open it and I added some boiled eggs to it to enhance it, and as well as a couple of like vinegar and some other things. And so I've been working on this, and it actually is pretty tasty. I have, these are the fresh food that I have, if you want to call it that, in the refrigerator. This partial bag of carrots, and I've got part of a sliced onion here, which definitely needs to be used. I have a about half of a jar of my canned ground beef. Now, I had company over the weekend. My daughter was here, and I made some quick spaghetti, and I used half the jar for the meat into the sauce, and a jar of pasta sauce and spaghetti, and voila, we had a meal. It was very good, by the way. But I do have that half jar left, which I do need to eat. I also have some chicken. Now, when I buy a rotisserie chicken, I save the containers because I found out they're pretty handy. You can put a lot of stuff in these containers. They hold quite a bit. So in this container is a thigh and a leg, and this is actually lemon pepper chicken. Just to show you this, I cook rice every week, and I also cook chicken. This is actually pressure cooked chicken legs and thighs, and I remove them from the bone, and this is for the cats and my little dog. So I take the chicken, I mix it with the rice for my dog, and sometimes I put in some maybe green beans for her because she likes them. So this is actually pet food, but I can eat the pet food as well because it's people food. And I made it, so I know what's in it. But anyway, what I did was I took out a bag of my chicken thighs and legs that I purchased a while back. I took it from the freezer. This was a bag that was 10-pound bag. It was 49 cents a pound. So I had 10 pounds of chicken for $4.90. I pressure cooked part of it. The other part of it, I made some paprika chicken and lemon pepper chicken. And when my daughter was here, we had this. And this is what is left of the chicken. I did, actually, when I cooked this, I did 4/4, roasted it in my Ninja. Awesome. And so this is what is left from that. And I also made, which I had never tried before, I had my package of yellow rice, so I made that yesterday as well. And this is what is left of the yellow rice. So I need to work on this. I also have, from pressure cooking the chicken, I also have a container of broth and another container of broth. So I can see soup in the future. I made that some soup last week, and I ate some of it, and I sent 2 jars home with my daughter, and the vegetable soup with the hamburger. And I sent 2 pints home with her. So I have no soup in my refrigerator, so I think that I will be able to make some soup out of some of this. Don't you? Don't you think I can? I think I can. Also, I have a package of ham. I got this at Aldi's a few weeks ago, but it has been in the freezer because I could see that I was not going to eat it quickly. So I did take this out of the freezer last week. I had some, actually, I had ham and cheese toasted on an English muffin, and I have to tell you, it was very, very tasty. I loved it. And also I have a box of hot dogs. These were 99 cents. And I use these to give my little dog her medicine. She gets half of a hot dog, and I disguise her medicine in it. It's like her treat, and she likes it. But I also eat these hot dogs as well. So, because when it comes to hot dogs, I'm not very fussy. And if they're 99 cents like these were, okay, that's great. I'm fine with that. I also have, I think there's 3 eggs in here, this package. I bought up on eggs while they were cheap, when the price had come down. So here's a dozen, and here's a dozen and a half, which I haven't gotten into yet. So we're going to make sure we get through these eggs. It's not a big rush on these eggs, but certainly the boiled eggs need to be consumed. So that's what I have to go through. And now then, let me show you a few things that are in my freezer. In the freezer above my refrigerator here, because not my chest freezer downstairs, but the one in the kitchen. Okie dokie. This is what I pulled from my freezer here in the kitchen. Yes, it seems a lot, doesn't it? Okay. I purchased these, and because I didn't feel like running downstairs, I just shoved them in the freezer up here. And they're actually full packages of flour tortillas and corn tortillas. So these are going to go in the chest freezer in the basement. Same way with the raviolis. These are going to go in the chest freezer in the basement. These come from Dollar Tree, by the way. They're really good. If you haven't tried them, try them. And the bacon I purchased at Dollar General. They had like a little sale on. And so this is actually intended for the big freezer as a stock up. So these are all going to go in the basement in the freezer. Or the freezer in the basement. I don't have a basement in my freezer. Wouldn't that be interesting? That's kind of like, I don't know, a spy movie or something. Okay. I've got 2 bags of frozen mushrooms. These are mushrooms that I chopped up because I got a good buy on them. The other ones are dehydrated, and these are the stems of the mushrooms that were dehydrated. So I like to keep them up here. I can just grab some and throw them in whatever I'm cooking. These probably should be put in a small freezer bag. These are actually the multicolored peppers that I'd gotten a good bargain on. So laziness, shoved them in the freezer. Now this, I'm going to keep this in the freezer upstairs because this is just simply a breakfast type burrito. I had 4 flour tortillas left in the bag, and I thought, I should use them up. And so I was doing some eggs, and I just had a little partial bag of frozen pepper mix that was just bell peppers and onions. And so I mixed it all together, and I made 4 breakfast burritos. And actually, I put them in the same zip bag that the tortillas came in. So there you go. These are going to stay upstairs here. That's actually not just breakfast. That could be lunch, could be supper, any number of things. How about I could do one of these with some of that yellow rice? That would be tasty. Yum. Okay. I have 1 very large tortilla. It is a tortilla grande. This is the last one left in the bag of 6 that was $3 at Dollar General, by the way. I've got some hot dog buns. These came from Dollar Tree, I do believe. And I've got some hamburger buns. These came from Quick Star. So I have these in this little basket here, which I keep in the freezer. I've got those 6 turkey meatballs to eat up. I've got a little bit of fruit, frozen fruit left. And I have some peaches, frozen peaches here. So I think I'm going to combine those and do something with them. And I've got, what's this? Oh, this is pasta, leftover pasta with turkey meatballs. And oh, this is some pieces of cheese here. And this is a portion of potatoes, green beans, and bacon. And another portion of potatoes, green beans, and bacon. So definitely going to have to eat those up. Okay? So that's basically what I've got in the freezer. These 2 items and these are going to go down in the freezer in the basement. And the rest of these are going to go back in my freezer upstairs here in the kitchen. So that's it. Now, why did I show you all this? I've shown you all this as a reminder. Take an inventory of what you have. Do it once a week. Pick a day and do it. And see what you have. Literally drag it out of the refrigerator or the freezer and see what's there. And as you look at it, as you do take inventory, you will be amazed at the different ideas that will come into your mind, ways that you can use these items. And you'll be surprised. And but I have to warn you about something. When you start making your, reusing your leftovers and making them into other things or combining them to make other dishes, I'm going to warn you, you will end up with more food. Thus, you may end up with more leftovers. That's been my experience. My older daughter and I were talking about this, how when you start using the leftovers, you end up with more than you imagined. Because little is much when God is in it. When we are inspired, when our minds are inspired to be creative and to create new things from what we have, you will be amazed at what you end up with. And these are a perfect example right here. All I wanted to do was use up these 4 tortillas. And so I scrambled together a couple of eggs. I wanted to use up the last of the frozen peppers, and that's what I ended up with. So there is potentially 2 to 4 meals here, depending on what your appetite is. And besides which, throughout the week, not so much on the weekends, but throughout the week, I'm an intermittent faster. I usually only eat 2 meals a day. So it's even more difficult sometimes for me to use things up. But I do I make a sincere effort because I do not want to waste food. And I'm serious about this. If you waste food, just skip purchasing the food and wasting the food. Just take your money and go right out to the garbage and just put your money in the garbage. And then you can skip like 2 whole steps. It'll make your life more efficient. So, just, I just, honestly, I'm being sarcastic here. I know, I'm sorry. But, but I just want to impress upon you, we live in a day and age where, especially now, that when times are very difficult, and they're more difficult for some people than other people. And sometimes we forget how much things cost us. Years ago, I read, if you want to really put a price on things, think about what you get paid an hour, for example. Even if you're on salary, what do you make an hour? And then take that hourly wage and compare it to what you are purchasing. So if you make $50 an hour, for example, I'm overestimating that. If you make $50 an hour and you go out to eat and you spend $100, you had to work 2 hours. And that's not including what they take out on your taxes and everything, because you got to work for Uncle Sam. He's a hard taskmaster, right? So you think about that. If you purchase $50 worth of groceries and you're throwing out $25 worth of groceries, think how long you had to work to buy those things. How long did you work? And to tell you the truth, I don't have any qualms about saying that to your children, because kids don't know. But if you can say, well, mommy or daddy or whomever, I had to work. We can buy that, but do you know how long I had to work to purchase this? Because sometimes kids need to know how much things really, really cost, not just money, time, all the time that you spent. So think about that. Think about how much it really cost, not just in dollars and cents. So we are living in tenuous times right now. I know that. I'm not walking around with rose-colored glasses on and tra-la-lying and tiptoeing through the tulips. I get it. I'm old enough to know that what is happening, I see the signs. I've been through some rough times. And not to get political, but I was a young mother, a young woman when in Carterville. And if you know your presidents, you know who I'm talking about. And it stunk. I'm not kidding you. It was very, very hard. And at this point in time, we're living in, well, I call it Bidenville, but that's my reference. You do whatever you want, say whatever you want. Back during the Depression, they called it Hooverville. I don't call it the Great Depression. It's the Depression. That's all that needs to be said about it. It was Hooverville back then. People lived in Hooverville. They were hungry. And they didn't have government backups. They didn't have food stamps. They didn't have any of those things, because I'm old enough to remember when there was no food stamps. No such thing. That came along during LBJ, and he was going to have a war on poverty. Well, that was BS. It was all BS, and it has continued to be BS. And I don't mean to be crude, but I'm the granny, and I'm telling you something. If you think that the government is going to pull your hiney out of the fire, you got another thing coming. They are not. What we have currently going on is total corruption. It is corrupt. And so you better hunker down. You better put it in low gear, baby. Because that's what I say. I'll put it in low gear and I just keep plugging away and keep my eyes facing forward, keep my eyes turned upward, and I just keep going, and I pray for wisdom. So I'm just saying this, and that's what I think, it's what I feel. I have a right because I live in America. Now, I'm sorry if I've offended anyone. If you're a fan of Whippersniffer, you go right ahead. That's great. Good for you. Okay? But I think it is time to realize where we are at, and this is not good. So, having said all that, take inventory. The scripture says that we are to keep track of we're to look after our flocks and herds. This is part of my flocks and herds right here. Now, I realize I'm just an old lady at the last part of her life, living on the corner, taking care of what I have. But I'm telling you, you better look after your flocks and herds because it may save you in the end. It may save you from being hungry. Okay? Alrighty. Well, wasn't that cheerful? Woohoo! I love you guys. You know I do. Keep your head up. Keep your chin up. But be aware. Be aware. I believe the Apostle Paul said, "Brethren, I would not have you ignorant." So don't be ignorant. Be careful who you listen to. Keep your eyes open, and keep your mind clear, and take care of what you need to take care of. Okay? All right. I love you guys. You know I do. And you know that little is much when God is in it. Okay? All right. I'm going to get about my business because, I've got things to take care of here. That's just how it is. All right. I love you, and I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.